Most people have a survival plan for food. Most people have a survival plan for water. Almost nobody has a survival plan for their money. And in a global conflict scenario, the financial system is one of the first things to destabilize. Currency devalues, banks restrict withdrawals, supply chains fracture, prices spike, credit systems freeze. The economic infrastructure most people depend on for everything starts to crack, often before the first physical danger arrives. The people who make it through global conflict with their lives intact, but their financial foundation destroyed, don't recover for years, sometimes decades, sometimes never. Today I am going to give you the exact financial stability framework that works in a conflict environment. Not investment advice, not get-rich schemes. A practical, grounded, step-by-step system for protecting your financial foundation when the world is on fire. Let's go. Before we talk about what to do, you need to understand exactly why financial systems fail in conflict. Because the mechanism is specific, and understanding it changes everything about how you prepare. In conflict, governments need to fund military and emergency operations rapidly. The fastest way to do this is to print more currency. More currency chasing the same goods equals inflation. In acute conflict scenarios, inflation can move from manageable to catastrophic within weeks. History documents this repeatedly. In World War I Germany, hyperinflation made currency worthless within months. In more recent conflicts, Syria, Ukraine, Venezuela, currencies lost 50, 70, 90% of their purchasing power within a year of conflict escalation. In conflict, governments routinely impose banking controls, withdrawal limits, account freezes, capital controls that prevent moving money across borders. This is not theoretical. Cyprus in 2012-13, Greece in 2015, Lebanon in 2019, Argentina repeatedly, Ukraine in 2022. The pattern is consistent. The moment the banking system comes under stress, the government protects the system by restricting individual access. Your money in the bank is not your money in a conflict scenario. It is the bank's money, held on your behalf, subject to whatever restrictions the government decides to impose. Global conflict disrupts the supply chains that keep goods available and affordable. The result is not just shortages, it is price spikes that make previously affordable necessities cost 2, 3, 5 times their pre-conflict price. The person who enters a conflict scenario with no stored value and no physical reserves is entirely dependent on a supply chain that may no longer exist. Understanding these three mechanisms tells you exactly what to protect against. Let's build the protection. Pillar 1 of financial stability in conflict, the cash buffer. Physical cash, in your possession, not in a bank, not in a digital account, not in an investment. Physical bills, in your home, in a secure location. Why physical cash specifically? Because in the first phase of any conflict-related financial disruption, the phase where banking restrictions are imposed, ATMs run dry, and digital payment systems become unreliable, physical cash is the most universally accepted medium of exchange. People trust the physical bill they can hold. They are uncertain about the digital balance they cannot touch. How much? The minimum standard is 30 days of household expenses in physical cash. That means housing, food, utilities, medication, everything your household requires for 30 days, held in physical bills at home. For most households in North America, this is somewhere between $2,000 and $5,000. It feels like a lot. In a conflict scenario, it is the difference between functioning and desperate. What denomination? Small bills, 10s and 20s, not hundreds. In disrupted economies, change becomes scarce and large bills become problematic. Small denominations give you maximum flexibility. Where? Not all in one place. Split across 2 or 3 secure locations in your home. A fireproof safe is the minimum standard. One critical note: cash loses value in inflation. The cash buffer is not a long-term store of value. It is a short-term operational reserve, the bridge that keeps you functional while longer-term stores of value do their job. Pillar 2, hard assets. Hard assets are physical items that hold value independently of currency, items that can be traded, used, or converted to other value even when the currency system is disrupted. The three categories that matter most in a conflict scenario. Category 1. Precious metals. Gold and silver have functioned as stores of value across every major conflict and currency collapse in human history. They are recognized universally. They are portable. They cannot be inflated away. The practical standard: silver first, gold second. Silver in small denominations, 1-ounce coins, is the most practically tradable form. A 1-ounce silver coin in a disrupted economy functions as immediate medium of exchange. Gold, because of its higher value per unit, is better suited for larger transactions and longer-term value storage. Start with silver. Build toward gold. The standard minimum: 3 months of household expenses converted to physical silver. Category 2. Stored consumables. Food, water, medicine, fuel. These are hard assets in a conflict economy. Their value increases dramatically as supply chains fracture. A stockpile of food is not just survival preparation, it is financial preparation. Every dollar of food stored at today's prices is a dollar saved at tomorrow's inflated prices. Category 3. Useful skills and tools. In a deeply disrupted economy, the ability to produce, repair, or provide something valuable is a form of wealth that cannot be inflated, restricted, or confiscated. A skilled mechanic, a competent medical provider, a capable builder. In a conflict economy, these people have economic security that no bank account can provide. Pillar 3 is the one that most financial survival advice ignores, and it may be the most important of all. Debt reduction. In a conflict scenario, debt becomes one of the most dangerous financial vulnerabilities you can carry. Here's why. Your income, whether from employment, business, or investments, is highly likely to become disrupted in a conflict environment. Employment disruption, business closure, investment devaluation, all are well-documented outcomes of conflict escalation. Your debt obligations do not disappear when your income does. The mortgage, the car payment, the credit card balance, the personal loan. These obligations continue, and in an environment of rising interest rates driven by conflict-era inflation, they can accelerate. The household that enters a conflict scenario carrying significant debt is in a fundamentally different and far more dangerous position than the household that enters it debt-free or near debt-free. Every dollar of debt you eliminate before a conflict scenario materializes is a dollar of monthly obligation you no longer carry when income is disrupted. The priority order. First, eliminate high-interest debt. Credit cards, personal loans, anything above 8% interest. Second, reduce or eliminate car debt. Vehicles are depreciating assets. The debt on them is pure liability. Third, build toward mortgage freedom, or at minimum a substantial equity buffer that protects your housing in a foreclosure scenario. This is not glamorous advice. It is the most powerful financial resilience action most people can take right now. Pillar 4. Diversified value storage. The single most dangerous financial position in a conflict scenario is having all your value in one form, especially one form controlled by institutions you cannot directly access. Diversification in a conflict context means spreading your stored value across multiple forms that have different failure modes. The 5 buckets. Bucket 1. Physical cash, already covered. Short-term operational liquidity, 30 days of expenses, small bills, multiple secure locations. Bucket 2. Precious metals, medium-term store of value, silver coins first, gold second. Physically held, not ETFs, not certificates, physical metal in your possession. Bucket 3. Stored consumables, practical value that increases in disruption. Food, medicine, fuel, water. The most immediately useful form of stored value in a conflict scenario. Bucket 4. Productive assets, things that generate value. A productive garden, a small business with physical inventory, tools that enable income-producing skills, land. These produce value even in disrupted economies. Bucket 5. Skills and knowledge, the form of wealth that cannot be taken. Medical skills, mechanical skills, agricultural knowledge, construction capability. In any economy, disrupted or functional, the person with rare useful skills has economic security. The goal is not to have all 5 perfectly built. The goal is to have something in each bucket so that the failure of any single system does not take everything you have. Pillar 5. Income resilience. In a conflict environment, income sources that depend on complex, fragile infrastructure are the first to disappear. The salaried job at a company dependent on global supply chains, the investment income from markets that close or crash, the business that serves customers who can no longer afford to spend. Income resilience means building income sources that are more likely to survive disruption. The 4 characteristics of resilient income. Characteristic 1. Local. Income that depends on local relationships and local need is more resilient than income that depends on global infrastructure. A local service provider, a local repair person, a local food producer. These are harder to disrupt than remote, globally dependent income. Characteristic 2. Essential. Income from providing things people need, food, repair, medical care, security, is more resilient than income from providing things people want. In disruption, spending on essentials continues far longer than spending on non-essentials. Characteristic 3. Multiple streams. A household with 3 modest income streams is far more resilient than a household with 1 large income stream. The loss of one stream is a setback. The loss of the only stream is a crisis. Characteristic 4. Skill-based. Income that comes from what you know and can do is more portable and resilient than income from what you own or where you happen to be. Skills travel. Investments don't always. The income resilience action for this week. Identify 1 income stream you could build that meets at least 2 of these 4 characteristics. Start building it now, before you need it. Let me walk you through what actually happens to finances in a typical conflict escalation, so you know what to expect and when to act. Phase 1. Pre-conflict tension. Weeks to months. Financial markets become volatile. Currency may begin to weaken. Commodity prices, especially oil, food, and metals, begin to rise. Interest rates may spike. This is the optimal preparation window. Most people miss it. The action in Phase 1. Accelerate all preparation. Maximize cash buffer. Convert discretionary savings to hard assets. Reduce debt aggressively. Stock consumables. Phase 2. Conflict onset. First weeks. Supply chain disruptions begin. Certain goods become scarce and expensive rapidly. Banking system stress emerges. Governments may begin imposing capital controls. Markets may halt or crash. Digital payment systems may become unreliable in affected regions. The action in Phase 2. Stop converting and start conserving. The window for acquiring hard assets at reasonable prices closes quickly. Operate from your prepared position. Phase 3. Sustained conflict. Months to years. The new normal establishes itself. Those with physical reserves, multiple income streams, low debt, and practical skills find a functional equilibrium. Those without these foundations face continuous financial deterioration. The action in Phase 3. Community economics. Barter, trade, mutual aid, skill exchange. The prepared household becomes a node of economic stability in a disrupted community, which creates both security and value. Phase 4. Recovery. Economies eventually stabilize and rebuild. The households that preserved capital through conflict emerge with enormous relative advantages. Land, skills, social capital, and even modest hard asset reserves are disproportionately valuable in a rebuilding economy. Preparation is not just survival. It is positioning for the recovery. 7 actions. Build them in this order. Action 1. Build your cash buff this month. Calculate 30 days of household expenses. Withdraw that amount in small bills over the next 30 days, a few hundred at a time to avoid disruption. Store it in a fireproof safe, split across 2 locations. Action 2. Start your silver stack. Buy 5 1-ounce silver coins this week. Not paper silver, physical coins from a reputable dealer. This is your first hard asset position. Add to it monthly. Action 3. Build 90 days of consumable stores. Food, water, medicine, fuel. At today's prices, before supply chain disruption inflates them. This is simultaneous financial and physical preparation. Action 4. Eliminate your highest interest debt. List every debt you carry and its interest rate. Direct every available dollar toward the highest rate first. This single action improves your financial resilience more than almost anything else. Action 5. Build one resilient income stream. Identify a skill or capability you have that people in your local community would pay for. Start offering it, even informally. Establish the income stream before you need it. Action 6. Audit your financial single points of failure. Where is all your value concentrated? In one bank? In one investment account? In one currency? Identify your 3 biggest financial single points of failure and begin diversifying away from each one. Action 7. Build your financial community. Identify 2 or 3 people in your life who share your commitment to financial resilience. Share knowledge. Plan mutual support. Build the economic relationships that function as insurance when institutional systems fail. Let me close the content section with the mindset reframe that makes all of this possible. Most people think of financial preparation as deprivation, as giving up present enjoyment for a future that may never arrive. This framing is wrong. Financial resilience is not deprivation. It is the construction of genuine freedom. The household with 30 days of cash, 3 months of silver, 90 days of food, no high-interest debt, and a resilient income stream is not a household living in fear. It is a household that can say no. No to a bad job because they can survive without it. No to panic purchasing because they already have what they need. No to financial exploitation because they have options. No to institutional failure because they have prepared for it. That freedom, the freedom that comes from genuine financial resilience, is one of the most powerful forms of security that exists. It doesn't require wealth. It requires preparation. And preparation is available to anyone willing to start where they are with what they have. Start this week, not when it feels urgent, because by the time it feels urgent, the preparation window is already closing. Financial stability in global conflict doesn't happen by accident, and it doesn't happen at the last minute. It is built, deliberately, systematically, one action at a time, before the crisis that makes it necessary. 5 pillars: cash buffer, hard assets, debt reduction, diversified value storage, income resilience. 7 actions, starting this week. Drop in the comments, which of the 5 pillars is your current weakest point? Be specific. Your answer is your starting point. Subscribe and hit the bell. The next video goes deep on the exact precious metals strategy for conflict preparation. What to buy, how much, where to store it, and when to use it. Stay sharp, stay solvent, stay prepared.